Hey everyone, and welcome back to What You Talk About Reviews, where I will be reviewing three ongoing Tokusatsu series: Lupin Ranger vs. Pattern Ranger, Kamen Rider Zeo, and Kami no Kibajinga. So let's start off with Super Sentai's Cops and Robbers. So in this episode, episode 37, if I remember correctly, hopefully I'm right this time. I messed up with the Zeo one, accidentally said a different episode number when it was actually episode 7. So Episode 37, the Pattern Rangers and the Lupin Rangers encounter a Gangler who, with his collection piece, can create portals to attack from afar, and with his natural power, he can send them home. Like, literally send them home. They're hit with a beam, an image of a house appears, and they are flung all the way back to their houses, or to where they currently reside, or their homes. And the only one that this doesn't affect is Lupin Red, because it's kind of sad he doesn't really have a home, or he doesn't consider any place to be his home. So, it was a good episode. It still lacks villain development, but more importantly, it's still developing a strong bond between the Lupin Rangers and the Pattern Rangers, particularly with Kairi and Keiichiro. The two opposites, both the reds of the teams. Keiichiro is portrayed as like an older brother figure to Kairi, even though he doesn't want to. He's constantly reminded of his actual older brother that was killed by Zamigo, so he pushes him away. And Keiichiro wants to be there for him because he knows, even though he doesn't know exactly what happened, he knows there's something happening with Kairi. He's suffering, and naturally he just wants to help him out. So pretty much this episode, playing off between those two characters, developing their bond, their relationship between each other. A little bit, you kind of get a little bit from the other ones as well, mainly with Toma and Umika, and also with Noel. Seems like Noel's plans, whatever his intentions, are starting to spring forth, and overall, pretty much like I said, it was a good episode. It's actually seems like, as I theorized before, it's going to start going into story develop mode. It's actually going to go to an actual story for once. Previews for next week's episode show that we're finally getting some villain development. Destra and finally Zamigo are actually going to do something in the series. They're actually back and going to do something, and we'll get a power up for Noel. So we're probably getting a Noel focused episode for episode 38, and that is it for that episode. Pretty good. It's still lacking in a lot of parts, but still better than the Ninja. Kamen Rider Zeo Episode 8. So this is the last half of the Wizard crossover episode, and I gotta say, it's another good episode. It's getting slightly better. So in this episode, another wizard has seemingly showed his true colors, is now attacking his former friends and a love interest as well. And Tsukiyomi has become a victim of one of his attacks, put into a coma. And Guys and Sogo are divided on how to deal with another wizard again. So it's another kind of character development between the two characters, and you get a little bit more of Woz. Yeah, definitely enjoyed it. It was a pretty good episode, and we actually have a proper appearance of our cameo, Kosuke Nito, Kamen Rider Beast from Kamen Rider Wizard. Although he didn't particularly have, I don't know, he was kind of just there. I don't know why. And he keeps one of his ride watches afterwards. Another thing they do with an episode, they kind of explain a bit more about another riders, them changing history and all that. So, kind of a recapping of what they do, plus a little bit more of an explanation. So, when another rider is created, the timeline is altered, but if they are destroyed in the present, it briefly gives the riders associated with that their memories and their powers back temporarily. So as shown in the episode, Kosuke gets his powers as Beast back temporarily, long enough to test Guise and give him the Wizard Ride Watch before the altered timeline resumes. And it's good they're at least kind of explaining a bit more about that, and with Woz a bit more of his personality, him kind of warming up to Sogo a little, but showing that he's still not kind of agreeing with how things are done. So overall, goodish episode. We'll see. Next week is the O's tribute episode, or part 1 of the tribute episode, where we'll have Kamen Rider O's himself, Eiji Hino, will return, and Hina Izumi, one of the main supporting characters as well, will be returning. But there's also a surprise twist. There is another character coming back, but he's not from Kamen Rider O's. This character is one of my favorite characters from Kamen Rider. He's from Kamen Rider Ex-Aid. It's the Meme Lord Supreme himself, Kuroto Dan. In Kami no Kiba Jinga Episode 2, the third episode of the series. Yes, confusing, isn't it? In this episode, Jinga and the crew are still investigating how he is able to slay a horror without killing the host. The host comes back fully human, no traces of Inga or horror in them. They're perfectly fine. Something that has never happened before. They're trying to investigate what's going on there and how that is possible. But they still got a job to do. And from orders of the Watchdog, Jinga, Fusa, and Toma go to a mansion that is host to a whole lot of horrors, and they confront a horror who takes the form of a mirror and shows the deepest regrets and doubts within each person. So you know how I thought they were going to show Jinga's past self? That was kind of a bait. Like how that preview at the end of the previous episode was shown, it definitely seemed like it, but no, it was just the horror taking Jinga's form, showing Jinga's doubt about his past, the tragedy of him losing his mother and having to kill his father after becoming a horror. It was that. It's still good. It's still development for the character. He's pretty much facing his demons and coming to terms with it. And especially with Toma, Toma finds out and something happens to him. I'm not going to spoil it if you haven't seen it already, but something happens for him, and then we get a dynamic, we get a get development between the two brothers, between Jinga and Toma. And I'm surprised they did this so early, because something like this happening, like the Toma finding out about the truth about what happened to his parents on that night, because he's led to believe it was just horrors that killed his parents, because he had his memory erased on purpose. All of that, and him confronting Jinga about it and all that, I would have thought this would have been roughly around the halfway mark of the series, or closer towards the end, but it's near the start of the series. I'm really surprised that it was done. It's not disappointing, it was still done well, and just given like how a lot of these series are structured, something that like that would have been halfway in the series or near the end of the series. So there's a little bit of added drama to it. There's a secondary plot to the series, or more obstacles to it. And in this episode, we get a CGI horror. I know sometimes they can't obviously make practical suits, budget reasons and everything. It is a TV show, so it has the TV budget. So I I'm kind of okay with it, but whenever they always use CGI horrors, it's so completely and obviously CGI. Uh, Considering we the first two episodes had actual proper suits for them, so even if it was just a one-off thing, like all of these horrors, they're just one-offs. So I don't know. Probably just they just decided for that they'd use this CGI horror instead. Uh, but overall, it wasn't that much of a big deal. Jinga so far is definitely improving. I definitely liked this episode. I definitely liked what happened and getting a bit more kind of clues to how Jinga for some reason can bring humans back after they've become horrors, and a little bit more about the injury. So it seems like definitely his injury will play a huge part later on in the series. So we'll see how we go. It's with 3 episodes down. This is a 13 episode series, so another 10. 1, 2, 3. No, 13 episode. Yeah, about roughly another 10 or 11 episodes. Not sure if it's actually 13 episodes in total, or it's like there's episode 0 to episode 13, so that makes it about 14 in total. But I'm gonna say it's at least 13 in total. I believe a user in one of my previous reviews for this said that it was 13 episodes. So I'm gonna trust that user. And thank you for letting me know that. So that's it for all of these reviews for Lupin Ranger vs. Pattern Ranger, for Kamen Rider Zeo, and for Kami no Kiba Jinga. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all next time.